Steerage on another French boat, La Stella, headed down the Indian coast, through the Gulf of Mannar, due west to Africa. A brawl with a huge black Senegalese soldier on board ship. We were in tears in the steerage. This huge fellow, sleeping above me, had a habit of coughing, then spitting so that his saliva landed near me. "Look, you bastard, don't spit next to me." He said, "What?" "You heard me. If you're going to spit, spit 3 feet to the right or left. I will spit where I want to spit." "You will?" I pulled him out of his berth, a grave error. He picked me up almost as if I were a cat, gave me a waff over the chin, knocked me out against the wall. When I came to, I said, "I've decided you can spit where you want to." Coates held his belly with delight over the incident that lightened our long passage through the wide sea. Coates guided me to a little room on board ship and asked me to peek inside. It was a captain in the colonial army, stark naked, his pale goateed face reflecting death. His legs looked huge as those of an elephant. His 2 testicles, each big as a basketball, rested on the floor. "Elephantitis," Coates said. "He's dying." He had been called in as a physician, but he told the officers nothing could be done for that man. He'd be dead in a day or 2. After the man died, Coates rushed to me, saying, "You know what they found in his cabin? 2½ kilos of opium. They never paid me for my services. If I'd have known of that dope, I'd have kept it and could have peddled it for thousands." Djibouti, the capital of French Somaliland, a brawl with the customs people. I slugged the wrong man. The aid of an important French official. Jail. One of the vilest I was ever in. While Coates rushed to the American Council and the British Council to get me out. The British Council sprang me. But we were grounded, for our boat had gone on to Marseille, and no other would come for 10 days or 2 weeks. What to do? We were moneyless as usual. "Look," I said, "you realize we are on the threshold of the fabulous kingdom of Ethiopia. You realize this is where the Queen of Sheba was born, where she saw Solomon and all those historical things. Why don't we go up there? How do we live?" He wanted to know, I asked. "How have we lived so far?" "We arrived in Addis Ababa." Coates promptly bumped into an old classmate from the university he had attended. Next, we were in the company of Ras Tafari, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, posing as big game hunters. In his personal bungalow, 16 servant girls, 16 waiters, a cool, beautiful place. "Where are your rifles?" Ras Tafari asked. "Oh, they would be coming to us, along with our carriers, after we explored the hunting possibilities. A week around here, the whorehouses." England was coming closer. Yet we were in no hurry. The spell of our wild rollick across the world was heavy upon us. We were sampling the variety of the world. The Suez Canal, a slow trip along the Red Sea, the Mediterranean, Marseille. You got your education about bordellos in the south of France, especially at Marseille. You saw the most irregular things at small cost. I had to see them. You are born for peep shows and horror shows, or you're not. For example, at Marseille, I saw a braying donkey mounting a French girl, something I can never forget. I saw that, and worse, and it always offended some innate sense, so that I was inclined to laugh at the wrong time, from nervousness. Yet, instead of running away, I was held by an irresistible compulsion. I enter a whorehouse with the same interest as I do the British Museum or the Metropolitan, in the same spirit of curiosity. Here are the works of man. Here is an art of man. Here is his eternal pursuit of gold and pleasure. I couldn't be more sincere. This doesn't mean that if I go to La Scala in Milan to hear Carmen, I want to get up on the stage and participate. I do not. Neither do I always participate in a fine representative national whorehouse, but I must see it as a spectacle, an offering, a symptom of a nation. I think I can truthfully say that my behavior in whorehouses has been exemplary. There are, these are about the only institutions I never have been ejected from. On that trip across the middle of the earth, and since then, I have found great companionship with these ladies. After they had got through yet telling you how they became a whore, and you listened to the sad story of their lives, you found them the easiest people to level with. There is nobody more charming to talk to than a whore, unless possibly an old lady. These are two types I can get along with: respectable old ladies and whores. They both speak the same language. There is a wider outlook in a whore and a dear, sweet, little ancient lady. They look at life just as it is. Both have lost their inhibitions long ago, and they don't much give a damn. Neither are harsh women. They may be sad, sick, victims, nymphomaniacs, or something else, but they deserve better than any condemnatory term. The queerest place we were in was Marrakesh, in French Morocco, a male whorehouse. Marrakesh is a bizarre place anyway. I was under the impression I was going to a bordello. So was Coates. Inside, we found it was all boys. Big, rich Arab sheiks and others picked out their boys from a lineup of dancers. The boys would swing their hips and twitch the wrist. They were homos for that section of old Marrakesh, who were only interested in young boys. It was all a forthright, blunt exposition of that kind of sexuality in a place approved of in that society. In any other country, they would all have been scooped up by the police in no time and carted off to jail. To me, that sight was horrible, but, as the saying goes, one man's meat is another's poison. And we must remember ancient Greece and the epoch of Pericles, even Socrates. In 8 months, we had traveled through 7 seas, more than halfway around the world, from the Coral Sea of the New Guinea regions, north to the East and South China Seas, then down to the Andaman, across the Arabian, the Red, the Mediterranean Seas. At Marseille, Coates and I parted company. We did not know whether we would ever meet again. My heart was heavy. I felt here as the one person in the world I could really cling to, a wonderful friendship between two men. I thought, perhaps this is the end of a very deep, deep friendship. He was headed back to some European university to take a postgraduate course. I would make the last coastal jump from Marseille to London. This man was the great influence in my life. He showed me in a humorous, bawdy, Rabelaisian, tough, rough way the difference between a man with no soul and a man with one, even though neither of us was sure what a soul was. He, more than any other, gave me a certain style. He showed me the difference between cupidity and generosity. He showed me the complete irrelevance of the existence that we humans have while on Earth. From Coates, I learned to take from this brief span the unimportance of being earnest. I learned from him to laugh at the worst disasters.